Hi everybody. I have this small battery, lawnmower type battery, riding lawnmower type, just a small type. I guess some call them the utility. This one's called a Motor Master utility. Picture of a lawnmower on the side of it there. Well, it was dead. It died out. The liquids were up. They were up. They were all up. There was no dry cells. Just the battery itself seemed to have lost its charge. And it was down in charge quite a bit. I recharged it and it didn't seem to work. It's 2010, this battery, so 4 years old. The side walls are still straight, as you can see, nice and straight here. So there's no obvious buildup inside or indicating that it froze or any kind of damage was done internally like this. So what I did is, you're going to hear me swatting, and that's just me killing mosquitoes. But anyhow, what I did is I took the caps off, of course. I drained everything out, put it into a container, and then I took some distilled water and I mixed in some baking soda. Mixed them together. I couldn't tell you the ratio mix to that full container. Maybe a half a cup of baking soda will do the job. And I filled it up with that solution mix, baking soda and distilled water. I let everything sizzle and bubble away, neutralizing the electrolyte. Once it came to an end of its sizzling and bubbling, I emptied it out into a pail and I filled it up again with distilled water mixture with baking soda, and I shook it about, gave it some more sizzling taking place. When that ceased to exist, when the process of the bubbling and sizzling stopped, I dumped that out into the bucket, and then I filled it up with just distilled water. And I shook it from to and fro, give it a good rinsing inside, and then I dumped that out into the bucket. And then I filled it up again with distilled water to the right level. And then I placed a charger to it. Battery charger. This charger has, for 12 volts, it has 10 amp, 30 amp, and a fast 200 amp engine boost. Engine start. So I charged it for several hours until actually the battery got warm to the touch. It wasn't hot, but it was warm to the touch. Then I stopped the process, turned the battery charger off, and checked the voltage with the meter. It was showing me it was over 12 volts, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, there's no acid in there, and all the acid that was in there, I neutralized it, and yet it's still showing me over 12 volts. So I was impressed. So after that point, well, I didn't dare try to use the battery. After that point, I dumped out that water. See, charging the battery, what I did is that the distilled water was in there alone. Nothing was added to the distilled water. And when I placed a charge on it with only the distilled water in it, what I did is I pushed out any remaining acid that was absorbed by the plates itself. So now that whatever remained acid that was absorbed by the plates itself was now released into the distilled water. So therefore, when I dumped out the solution that was in the battery, now there was a little bit of acid within that distilled water. So I dumped that out, and then I filled it up with your normal electrolyte. I filled it up to the recommended level, and then I placed a charger back on it, and again I charged it until it was warm to the touch. Had the caps off, it was bubbling away, sizzling, bubbling, and steam was coming up, and I felt it, and it was getting warm to the touch. and it was getting warmer to the touch. And when it felt warmer to the touch, well, that's when I decided that it's good enough. If its battery's going to turn out to be okay, it's going to show me now. I don't have any sophisticated, measuring devices, or that's pretty much my sophistication right here. This little multimeter. So anyhow, I did that, and I let the battery cool down, and here's the result. I have the positive one hooked into there, or just sitting in there. Here's the result, 12.61. And I mean, it was I can't remember what the voltage was. It was barely even reading any volts. So I'm impressed. It came up. It's showing itself to be holding. This has been sitting now for about 36 hours. And that's what it's sitting at, 12.61. So I guess the true story will be when I put it in the lawnmower. But remember, fellas, we're talking about just a lawnmower here. We're not talking about some enormous engine that needs some serious cranking power to turn it over. We're talking about a riding lawnmower, which doesn't take much, to start them up. And this alone here, to replace the battery, I'm not sure what they're worth, $50, $60, $80, I'm not really sure. But I saved myself that grief, where I don't even have to go to town to pick me up a new battery. And to top it all off, well, money saved is like money earned. Great tip. I would recommend someone trying it. Thank you for watching.